Good morning, traders, and welcome to Phoenix Blues Morning Update. My name is Nishal Patel, and I'm going to be giving you a quick synopsis of what we've seen so far on the market this morning. Today is the 22nd of August, 2017. I hope you had a good trading day yesterday, and we're just going to give you a backdrop of what we saw towards the end of yesterday's session and what we've seen so far this morning. Now, starting off on the dollar index, as where we normally do. And for those people that follow the morning update, we drew a short-term trend line off these lows on this daily time frame. And what we saw yesterday is we saw an open just above that trend line, and then we definitely saw some weakness in the dollar. That weakness in the dollar really materialized and started to come about just towards the close of the morning session, or I would say late in the morning European morning session, which drove it towards this level of support and resistance that we previously identified at 92.8. And then we saw price action literally come off that, and right now underpinned on the lower side of that trend line, right now floating at 93.30. Obviously, what we're going to see is we're going to see that dollar strength come into play across our majors and minors. And for those people that are watching the morning update, you would realize that we tend to look at the majors and minors and then be able to hypothesize particularly where the key areas are for the crosses. And what we'll do now is we'll just move straight over to the largest component of that dollar index, and we'll see what's happening. We'll see what's happening right now on the Euro USD. Right now, Euro USD floating at 1.176566 circa. Right now on this 4-hourly time frame, as we can see, just coming down and resting just on that 50 moving average on this chart. And for those people that probably have evaluated this a little more, what you would see is if you scale down timeframes and you actually you've actually looked at various levels, it's come up and tested a fib level right now. So many of our majors and minors are driving back towards some key levels brought about by this this buy up in the US dollar, or the bounce of dollar strength. So euro sitting at 1.176667 right now. The yen still within this area of 2-day, 3-day consolidation. Right now floating still above 1.9, having broken that yesterday and coming down, well into the 108 midpoint before rebuffing off that area. And I think it's key, and for those people that are looking at this, obviously this is the daily time frame right now. If we flick this onto a weekly time frame, many of you guys would have seen this top being formed and a failure to break this neckline created from this double top. And we've seen that with the support that we've got here on this 382 fib, which has been drawn on this weekly swing, as well as this weekly 200 EMA on this chart. So an area definitely to be looking for. Definitive area for a break, but we haven't seen a break in quite some time. Moving on to the Australian dollar right now. The Australian dollar coming back, and again, just like the rest of our majors and minors, seeing the dollar strength in play. Again, very much in this 3 to 4 day area of consolidation, but definitely on the short side right now, floating just above 0.7900. And for those people that are savvy enough that have had a look at what the last swing have done, and they would see that right now the Australian dollar sitting at a 38 fib level off its last swing. So definitely worth looking at if you are an intraday trader on potential returns later on in the session. Something else which is key that I thought I'd bring up is the news. We only have one key bit of news today, and that's a core retail sales, which is a monthly data release on the Canadian dollar, and that will be coming out at 1:30 British summertime. Other key bits of news, I think there is something out on economic sentiment. In fact, it's ZEW economic sentiment, excuse me, coming out very shortly, very shortly on the euro. So should definitely give some drive to the euro, and I think that's the key chart of focus right now. Is the euro, especially with the Jackson Hole symposium coming up later on this week, and knowing that we do have Draghi speaking at that symposium, and definitely there's going to be talk about how the ECB team and the monetary policy team are really going to be looking at holding the strength of the euro, because obviously it's hurting them, and just like his predecessor, I don't think he's too keen on the strengthening of the euro too much. And for many of you that have looked at the crosses, you would have realized that the euro is gaining ground on against the rest of the majors and minors, especially if you're having a look at the euro GBP and a few other key pairs. Moving on swiftly onto the Canadian dollar. As I said, we do have some data out on the Canadian dollar later on this afternoon, but right now the Canadian dollar floating at 1.2578, again coming back to this key level, and having broken 2,700 towards the midpoint of last week, and I'm just going to highlight on our chart right now, which is a daily time frame. So just below this, there we go here. Having broken that, definitely looked very bearish, but still looking as if it's on its way down. So definitely room for trading opportunity there as well. Moving on to WTI. WTI rebuffing off its move on the 48.50 area, so that 50% retracement, and right now just pushing up slightly, just above 47.50 right now. So right now floating at 47.8. So just coming and testing that confluence of the 20 and the 100 daily EMA. And finally wrapping up, just having a look at the price of gold spot. Gold spot sitting at 12.85. Obviously we saw some strength yesterday, and that's really driven it up just below that 12.90 area, but right now sitting just below 12.85 or 12.85, dead on right now after seeing some dollar strength in play this morning. Okay guys, as always, any questions, feel free to send over to info@phoenixblue.co.uk. Happy trading. Bye bye.